Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. And this is going to be a review of this past Wednesday's edition of Dynamite, which was the June 24th edition. And this Dynamite, of course, was the go-home show for Fyter Fest, which is happening next Wednesday and on July 8th. So it's going to be a 2-week event, which I'm really looking forward to. And Dynamite on Wednesday, I thought it was an enjoyable show. I really liked Dynamite. And we had Wardlow versus Luchasaurus in a lumberjack match. We also saw a press conference with Cody with the TNT Championship, where he's going to be taking on Jake Hager at Fyter Fest. We also saw SCU versus FTR. We also saw Colt Cabana and Mr. Brody Lee, the Exalted One, versus Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela. And we also saw Brian Cage in action in a quick match to build him up for Jon Moxley at Fyter Fest. And we also saw Matt Hardy, broken Matt Hardy, and he ended up taking on Santana. So that was pretty much what we saw for matches on Dynamite. And also Hikaru Shida was in action. But Dynamite was a very enjoyable show on Wednesday. But let's get on with the Dynamite review. And of course, with the go-home show, this go-home show for Fyter Fest, AEW did their best with their go-home show for Fyter Fest, in my opinion. But let's get on with the review. So Dynamite kicked off with the lumberjack match. Wardlow versus Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus, of course, from the Jurassic Express. And this was a very good match. This was a good lumberjack match. It was entertaining. Really enjoy Wardlow in the ring. You know, the guy is very good at what he does. And the match started out with Wardlow hitting a lariat to Luchasaurus. And Wardlow ended up shoving the Jurassic Express, who was out there, Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy. And he rolled Luchasaurus back to the ring. Wardlow then ended up delivering a spear to Luchasaurus. Of course, MJF was at ringside. And we had Luchasaurus. He was on the ring apron at a point. The referee was distracted. MJF ended up getting involved, ended up grabbing Luchasaurus' ankle, and it led for Wardlow to attack Luchasaurus. And we also had Wardlow. He ended up doing a Hurricanrana to Luchasaurus, which looked awesome. Seeing Wardlow do that. So Wardlow ended up slamming Luchasaurus on the stage. Jungle Boy ended up checking on Luchasaurus. Wardlow ended up taking Jungle Boy out, launched Jungle Boy into the Lumberjacks, and Marco Stunt ended up leaping off the stage onto the Lumberjacks, which was cool. So Brandon Cutler ended up getting involved, and Wardlow ended up picking him up. Wardlow ended up picking up Cutler, and he thrown Cutler into the pile of Lumberjacks, and it was that high that Wardlow picked up Cutler. So Cutler just end up getting thrown into the pile of lumberjacks on the outside. Marco Stunt was on Wardlow, and he ended up getting military pressed by Wardlow, got thrown into the crowd. Luchasaurus then came back with a spinning kick to Wardlow, and he fell on the lumberjacks on the outside. Luchasaurus ended up hitting a shooting star press off the stage, ended up taking out everybody. So pretty much basically all the lumberjacks are being thrown down, ended up being taken out. So we went back to the ring. Luchasaurus delivered a chokeslam to Wardlow. MJF ended up distracting the referee. Jungle Boy ended up delivering a spear, sending MJF down on the lumberjacks out onto the floor. And then Wardlow ended up coming back, ended up delivering a low blow to Luchasaurus. And then Wardlow picked up Luchasaurus, and he hit the spinning F10 to Luchasaurus, went for the pin. There you go. Wardlow ended up winning the match. Post-match, we had Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt check on Luchasaurus. MJF and Wardlow came into the ring, ended up attacking them. And then we just got a brawl with everyone in the ring, even the guys who were the lumberjacks. And then on commentary, they ended up saying that Tony Khan ended up telling them that now at Fyter Fest, it's going to be MJF and Wardlow versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. So we got that match announced for Fyter Fest, thanks to Tony Khan. So basically that was that. But overall, it was an entertaining lumberjack match between Luchasaurus and Wardlow. Really enjoyed it. So then, after that, we had Britt Baker. Britt Baker ended up passing the note to Tony Schiavone, and the note ended up saying that he's still on a friend timeout because of what happened last week. And Britt Baker was shown, of course, on the Rolls Royce, and she now had security there protecting her. And she was now encased in a plexiglass case, which Adam Cole probably gave her from the Performance Center, which I had to make a joke out of because, WWE and their plexiglass being set up in the Performance Center. So she was encased in plexiglass, Britt Baker, after what happened last week with Big Swole, driving off with Britt Baker in the back of the Rolls Royce. Britt Baker was in the dumpster. But we ended up seeing that. And then we had Hikaru Shida versus Red Velvet. This was a 1-minute match. Before the match got underway, Hikaru Shida was at ringside. She ended up getting in Penelope Ford's face. Because Penelope Ford was there with, of course, her fiance, Kip Sabian. And Penelope Ford ended up punching Hikaru Shida, which pissed Shida off. So we had Kip Sabian try to protect his fiance. Hikaru Shida went into the ring. Match got underway. Shida ended up dropping Red Velvet with the running knee. And she ended up hitting the Falcon Arrow. Went for the pin. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Hikaru Shida ended up winning in 1 minute. And Hikaru Shida, she wasted little to no time. Because after she pinned Red Velvet, she went right out of the ring and went for Penelope Ford. She attacked Penelope Ford. Her back was turned, and Hikaru Shida just attacked her. And Shida ended up jumping the guardrail. She ended up attacking Penelope Ford. She then dropped Kip Sabian, which Sabian's sort of sunglasses, like one of the lenses came off. And she ended up attacking Penelope Ford. And they ended up getting separated. And pretty much that was basically that. So a little hype going into the match at Fyter Fest. And then we had the press conference with Cody for the TNT Championship. And really enjoyed this press conference. This was very well done. And, of course, they had like the dirt sheets there, from, wrestling, sites, that report the dirt sheets, which you could tell by watching this was all scripted. This was scripted questions that they were asking Cody. So we had Cody there. Jake Hager was yet to show up to the press conference. He wasn't there. So Arn Anderson was asked a question. And they asked him if he's surprised that Hager hasn't shown up to the press conference. Arn ended up saying that he isn't necessarily surprised. But despite, that Jake Hager is doing a lot of barking lately. And that it's just not time for him. He ended up saying that he saw Cody's face and felt like Cody wanted this guy. And Arn ended up saying that Hager may have the credentials, but he's disrespecting people by not showing up. And so Arn ended up saying that at the end of the day, Cody will still remain the TNT champion. So another one of the dirt sheets end up saying to Cody about how it feels for him to be the first ever TNT champion. Cody ended up telling him that it feels like hope. He ended up saying that he has a reputation of a Boy Scout. And that, may not sit well. He ended up saying that he doesn't like meta or cosplaying wrestling. And that he likes professional wrestling. So then we had Jake Hager and his wife show up. Jake Hager finally shows up to the press conference. Hager ended up asking Cody if he's ready. And he calls for the cameraman to come over. So Hager ended up facing off with Cody. And he put his fist to Cody's face. Cody ended up smiling. He ended up smacking Hager's fist away. Dustin, of course, was there alongside Cody. Dustin ended up barking at Jake Hager. Cody ended up holding him off. And he ended up telling him, not right now. Now is not the time. So Cody ends up turning around. And Hager's wife ended up throwing a glass of water in Cody's face. And Dustin ended up yelling at Hager's wife to get off the stage. And Cody ended up remaining calm here, which he didn't want to, shove Hager or do something to Hager. Cody is just waiting to get his hands on Hager come Fyter Fest next Wednesday. So Cody, remained calm, and he just wanted to let everyone know that the pressure is done. And so that was basically the press conference. And it was really enjoyable press conference. Very well done. I liked the style. Hopefully, AEW keeps doing this in the future. So I really enjoyed how this was handled between Cody and Hager here. And then we had Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela. They were driving. Sonny Kiss ended up saying that he understands Janela better than most. And sometimes you just lose yourself. We saw the both of them end up pulling into a gas station. Janela was inside the convenience store of the gas station. He was getting some snacks. And then we see this group of guys come up to Sonny Kiss and attempt to take the care. So they were messing with Sonny Kiss. Sonny Kiss ended up fighting with these guys. Janela ends up strolling out of the convenience store at the gas station. He ended up seeing what was happening between Sonny Kiss and these guys. So Janela ended up coming over, ended up fighting. And both him and Sonny Kiss ended up taking out the group of these guys. So they hop back into the car. Sonny Kiss ended up saying that he could get used to this. And Joey Janela ended up agreeing. And pretty much that was basically that. But this was very well produced. Really liked how the way that this whole thing was filmed. Especially the fight between Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela and these group of guys. Really liked how, it was filmed. But pretty much that was basically that. But Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela, I end up seeing them when they were in the Indies. I seen their matches in the Indies at indie events that I attended. Sonny Kiss, when I watched his matches in the Indies, very well super guy in the ring, and put on some entertaining matches in the Indies. I've seen some of his matches when I attended indie shows. Very, very fun, wrestler in the ring. Same with Janela. Janela, seen him when I went to indie shows. His matches in indie shows. Very, very well talented guy in the ring with the matches that he had. I mean, both Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela are very talented. And then we went to the tag team match with Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela versus Mr. Brody Lee, the Exalted One, and Colt Cabana. And this was a entertaining match. This was an entertaining tag team match. We had Brody Lee and Sonny Kiss end up starting off the match. Sonny Kiss was able to get some offense on Brody Lee, end up landing a Hurricanrana, and Brody Lee end up throwing some strikes at Sonny Kiss. Brody Lee ended up tossing Sonny Kiss aside. Janela ended up coming in, and he immediately got shoulder blocked by Brody Lee. Brody Lee then ended up tagging in Colt Cabana, and when Colt Cabana came in, Janela ended up taking control. Janela then tagged in Sonny Kiss. So we had Brody Lee end up getting in. Cabana ended up taking back in Brody Lee. So he ended up taking Brody Lee ended up delivering a boot to Janela. He ended up sending Sonny Kiss to the apron. And towards the end of the match, we had Brody Lee and Colt Cabana win. So Brody Lee ended up sending Janela into the barricade. And then Brody Lee ended up hitting a discus lariat on Joey Janela. So that was basically that. So Brody Lee and Colt Cabana end up winning. And then post-match, you had Lance Archer. Lance Archer ended up attacking Sonny Kiss from behind. He ended up throwing Sonny Kiss across the floor. Janela then picked up a chair, and he threw it right at Lance Archer. Lance Archer, didn't faze him. So Archer ended up dropping Joey Janela. Jake the Snake Roberts ended up holding Lance Archer back from doing anything else. And that was basically that. So we are going to be seeing Lance Archer versus Joey Janela at Fyter Fest. This set it up for their Fyter Fest match. And later on, I will announce the whole card for Fyter Fest for both nights. So I'm going to be saying that later on. But yeah, this pretty much, gave us a little hype for Archer and Janela at Fyter Fest. So then we had FTR versus SCU. And this was a very good tag team match between the both of them. FTR, coming in. They have been, really awesome so far in AEW. They're treated much better here than how WWE treated them as the Revival, when they were the Revival. And at the beginning of the match, we had them work over Frankie Kazarian. We had Daniels end up getting tagged in, laid some chops, and a knees and a headbutt on Wheeler. Harwood ended up holding on to Wheeler, and the two teams got in the middle of the ring, and they started jawing at each other. A brawl ended up breaking out, and both teams ended up out on the floor. And we had Harwood do a snap suplex, which sent Frankie Kazarian out of the ring. Harwood ended up hitting a slingshot suplex on Christopher Daniels. Went for the cover. Daniels ended up having a roll-up. And Kazarian was distracting the referee. And at the end of the match, you had FTR win. They ended up hitting the Goodnight Express on Christopher Daniels. There you go. FTR ended up winning the match. Post-match, we had Dax Harwood, end up getting on the mic. And he ended up saying that FTR wasn't welcome to the roster. But there are good guys and bad guys. And Dax Harwood ended up calling out a bunch of tag teams. They also end up calling out the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick. He ended up saying that they have graduated from the kids' table, and they are with the big boys now. I guess that was taking shots, with the kids' table. I guess that was him taking shots at WWE. So, WWE is the kids' table. AEW is, rolling, are them with the big boys now. So, they end up saying that they are the best tag team on the planet. Which, I agree, from, here, they're a good tag team. WWE, when they were in WWE, they were good there, but WWE just didn't see, more of the potential in these guys. They put them in some matches, and then later on, they end up making them look like jokes. Here in AEW, you could tell that AEW does care about these guys. So then we had the Butcher and the Blade. They were in FTR's truck. We had the Blade on the mic. And he ended up saying that this is the truck. The truck is just what they've been looking for. So FTR ended up going to run over to their truck. And the Blade ended up threatening to trash their truck. So the Blade ended up challenging FTR to a match at Fyter Fest. So Wheeler then ends up accepting the match. So we had, and also they also mentioned, how about, at Fyter Fest it will be FTR versus the Butcher and the Blade, and the Young Bucks. And, Wheeler then ended up accepting. And then we had a surprise return. We had the Lucha Brothers back. We had Pentagon and Phoenix in the ring. They ended up dropping FTR. Mad Nick Jackson ended up running out to chase off Pentagon and Phoenix. And we had FTR run to the truck. And they ended up driving off. And so basically that was that. So at Fyter Fest, it's going to be FTR and the Young Bucks versus the Butcher, the Blade, and the Lucha Brothers. So that's going to be that. So that's going to be a very entertaining match come Fyter Fest. Cannot wait to see FTR tag with the Young Bucks with Matt and Nick. So then we had the AEW World Tag Team Champions, Kenny Omega and Adam Page. So they end up cutting the promo. They highlight the differences between them and the Best Friends. And Chucky T ended up saying that despite working in a bunch of promotions together, they've never won titles anywhere. Kenny Omega ended up saying that he's not taking them lightly, knowing Chucky T and Trent have wrestled for a very long time. So Hangman Adam Page ended up saying that they are going to whoop both Chucky T and Trent's weirdo asses. So that was basically the promo from them, but very likable promo. And then we went to AEW World Champion Jon Moxley. He ended up cutting a promo, ended up saying that he has no problems with Brian Cage until that parking lot attack that, ended up sending Moxley through the car windshield. And Taz ended up wondering how much damage has been done to Moxley after that attack. And he was calling him damaged goods. And pretty much that was basically that. And then we went to Brian Cage. He was in action. He ended up taking on Joe Cruz. Taz was on commentary during the match. And right when Cage got into the ring, he went right to Joe Cruz, right into his opponent. He ended up launching him. He ended up launching Joe Cruz over his head. Brian Cage ended up doing a release suplex. Cruz was sent out to the ramp. Cage then powerbombed him back into the ring. And then the match ended with Cage ended up hitting the drill claw. And there you go. That was that. Brian Cage ended up winning. And we had them on commentary. Ended up saying that this match was meant for Moxley. But Moxley ended up staying home due to coming in contact with someone who was tested for COVID. And there was a report that broke out, and it was revealed that Renee Young, Moxley's wife, was tested for COVID, and that she came back positive for COVID. So Renee Young did catch COVID, which is a shame. Hopefully, she feels better and gets back to what she's doing, in WWE, doing interviews with the superstars. I wish Renee Young a speedy recovery from this COVID that's been taken all over the world, which this whole pandemic, this whole COVID outbreak needs to fucking die. It really does. And that's not until we get a vaccine, which they're claiming that, it's going to that they're going to have a vaccine in a year. But this whole COVID shit needs to die. The vaccine needs to come out, and the whole world needs to be free from this outbreak. But that's all. That's what I have to say about that. But speedy recovery for Renee Young, and Moxley was tested to see if he had the COVID. There was a report that leaked out saying that was why Moxley didn't show up to Dynamite on Wednesday. And there was a report that came out that Moxley did take the COVID test, and his results came back negative. So he will be competing at Fyter Fest. He will still be competing at Fyter Fest against Brian Cage. But post-match, what happened after Brian Cage defeated Joe Cruz, Taz ended up getting on the mic, and Taz ended up saying, "Oh, Moxley, where you at?" So Taz ended up looking at the camera, and he ended up saying that he found Moxley. That Moxley is sitting on his ass at home, which, Taz cut this promo on Moxley. I was, laughing at. Taz still knows how to cut a good promo. And when you hear Taz talk, whenever Brian Cage is out there and Taz talks, you have to listen to what the guy has to say. The guy is still absolutely good at cutting promos. So Taz ended up saying that Moxley is afraid, and he ended up saying that Brian Cage came to work while Moxley is staying home for some bullshit excuse. And he ended up continuing that Cage. Sorry about that, but I was saying, Taz ended up saying that Cage is going to take the AEW World Championship from Moxley at Fyter Fest. So that was basically what Taz had to say. But really a good promo from Taz. Like I said, Taz still knows how to cut a good promo. And when you hear the guy talk, you have to listen. You have to listen to what he has to say. And then they announced the Fyter Fest card for both nights. So this is the card for night 1 of Fyter Fest, which is next Wednesday. So this is the card. MJF and Wardlow versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Private Party, along with Matt Hardy. Hardy Party versus Santana and Ortiz of the Inner Circle. Hikaru Shida versus Penelope Ford for the AEW Women's World Championship. Cody versus Hager for the TNT Championship. Which, in my opinion, is probably going to be the main event. So, and then we also have Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega versus the Best Friends for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. So all those matches are going to be on night 1 next Wednesday. And then for the second week, on July 8th, it's going to be night 2. We're going to be having Jon Moxley versus Brian Cage for the AEW World Championship, which that's probably going to be the main event. We have Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. FTR and the Young Bucks versus the Butcher, the Blade, and the Lucha Brothers. Then we have Lance Archer versus Joey Janela. SCU versus the Dark Order, Brody Lee, Stu Grayson, and Colt Cabana. And Nyla Rose is going to be in action. So all that was announced for night 2 on July 8th. So there you go. That's your card for Fyter Fest. So it's a pretty good card. I'm really looking forward to it. And then we have Britt Baker. Britt Baker was in of course, a Rolls Royce. Reba was talking with her. Then we see Big Swole ends up rolling up to the Rolls Royce. And she ends up talking trash to Britt Baker. Britt Baker ended up telling Big Swole that there's nothing that she can do this time. She ends up enjoying a martini drink. And Big Swole ends up saying, okay. She then heads off. And we see her walk up to a high part of the stage. She ends up grabbing a garbage can or garbage trash can. And she dumps trash down on Britt Baker. So Britt Baker was just there, screaming. And she ended up yelling for Reba, Reba! Reba! And Reba comes over and she uses a leaf blower to try to get Big Swole away from Britt Baker. What is a leaf blower going to do to get Big Swole away? This was funny. This was absolutely funny, in my opinion. And then we had Santana versus broken Matt Hardy. So we got the broken version of Matt Hardy this week. We didn't get no version 1 or Damascus. So when Matt Hardy made his way out, we saw Neo 1 shows up. And he flies around, during, Matt Hardy's entrance, which, was cool. So the match got on the way. Santana ended up getting the momentum, and Matt Hardy ended up dropping Santana out to the floor. Of course, Santana was out there with Ortiz. And Matt Hardy ended up getting a big shot to Santana's face. And then he ended up jamming Santana's face into the ring post and then threw him into the barricade. And Matt Hardy was looking for a suplex to Santana, but Santana ended up driving a back elbow to Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy ended up throwing some punches. Santana ended up firing back. Santana ended up trying to go for the frog splash to Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy ended up getting out of the way. So at the end of the match, Santana ended up hitting the Death Valley driver to Matt Hardy, went for the cover. Matt Hardy ended up reversing it and got the 3 count. So Matt Hardy ended up winning the match, which you had a shocked look on Santana's face. Then you had post-match, Ortiz ends up coming in, ends up smacking Matt Hardy with the loaded sock quite a few times. Santana and Ortiz then double teamed on Matt Hardy, ended up hitting a street sweeper. Private Party ended up coming out, and Santana and Ortiz retreated out of the ring. So there we go. Hardy Party in place. And Matt Hardy and Private Party are ready for Santana and Ortiz at Fyter Fest. And then we had the face-off between Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho. So Orange Cassidy ended up heading out first, and then Jericho ended up coming out next. Jericho ended up asking, why did the chicken cross the road to get to the other side? He ended up saying that it's a joke that everybody knows at first. He ended up saying at first it's kind of funny, but after a while, the jokes become annoying, just like Orange Cassidy. So Jericho ended up saying that Cassidy just simply pisses him off. Sorry about that, but I was saying, Jericho ended up saying that Orange Cassidy just simply pisses him off. He ended up saying that he thought his matches are an embarrassment to the business. And Jericho ended up calling the higher-ups. And he wondered why did they bring in Orange Cassidy. And they ended up telling Jericho that the reason why they brought in Orange Cassidy is because people love him. Yeah, people love Orange Cassidy. Look at the whole gimmick that he has. The guy is just, cool. With having his hands in his pockets, with the shades. Then Jericho ends up saying that he does applaud Orange Cassidy for getting over by being himself, by doing something different. He ended up saying that part of his appeal is he's a lot like the fans, lazy, and a slacker. So Jericho ended up saying that Cassidy now has gotten out of his lane when he got in his face. He ends up saying that if Orange Cassidy does that bullshit light kick stuff, he's going to knock him out. Jericho ended up saying that the Orange Cassidy phenomenon will end at Fyter Fest because he's going to make sure Cassidy runs out of juice. So Jericho ended up liking the joke. Orange Cassidy ended up taking the mic from Jericho. Orange Cassidy tried to speak. He ended up sending the mic down. And he gives Jericho the light kicks, which you heard people off in the crowd go, "Oh, oh, oh," which I liked when the crowd does that. It makes it funny. So Jericho was then mad. Cassidy ended up putting his hands in his pockets. Jericho takes Cassidy's shades off him, and he ends up breaking them. So Orange Cassidy ended up taking down Jericho, started throwing punches at Jericho. They both spilled out to the floor. Cassidy was throwing more punches at Jericho. Jericho comes in. He ended up getting in a punch to Orange Cassidy. He was tugging Orange Cassidy's jacket over his head. Cassidy ended up fighting back, and they made their way up into the stands of the Daily's place. We had Jericho ends up taking a jib cam, and he launched it into Orange Cassidy. And you had, fans there, cheering at that. Some of them were wearing masks. Others weren't. So right when Jericho ended up taking that shot at Orange Cassidy with the camera, it showed Orange Cassidy's ear bleeding after that shot. So Jericho is up on a crate, and he looked to slam Orange Cassidy on it. Cassidy ended up getting in the way, ended up delivering a Superman punch that sent Jericho off the crate and into a table. And then Orange Cassidy ended up putting on another pair of shades. And we end up noticing his bloody ear with the blood. And then he ended up staring at Jericho. And he ended up giving him a weak thumbs up. And then Dynamite went off the air. But this was a really good face-off between Orange Cassidy and Jericho. I liked how the way they went into the stands of the Daily's place, and we actually saw fans there. That shot that Jericho did with the jib cam to Orange Cassidy was brutal, and you saw Orange Cassidy bleeding. But this sets off their match, of course, at Fyter Fest, which looking forward to it. Looking forward to their match, see how it plays out. But, Dynamite overall, the show was enjoyable. The show got us hyped for Fyter Fest, and let's see how Fyter Fest goes down this upcoming Wednesday for night one. So, got some news before I end the review. Got some got some news on Sammy Guevara. We all know Sammy Guevara has been suspended by AEW because of the saying that he made, the comments that he made years ago about Sasha Banks. There was reports claiming that he wanted to rape Sasha. So that got out, which, it was something that he said years ago. And he ended up coming out on social media, apologizing. And then Sasha ended up coming out also saying something about Guevara. Guevara even made a video also apologizing. But he's suspended, Guevara. Who knows when he's going to be back? But yeah, just had to throw that out because, of course, it's AEW news. But anyways, that's it for the Dynamite review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And you're getting 2 reviews from me today because it's Friday I'm doing this video on. So you're getting the Dynamite review today and then the SmackDown review later on tonight. So thank you all for watching, and be sure to give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all back here later tonight with the SmackDown review. So see you all later tonight.